All right, guys, so we're going to be doing some long form content today. And what better to start off with Mamdani's mayoral win in New York City? Let's get started. So, this is Zohran for NYC.com. This is his platform, and we're just going to read through. So, as stated, New York is too expensive. Zohran will lower costs and make life easier. Housing. This is how he plans on doing it. He's going to freeze the rent. A majority of New Yorkers are tenants, and more than 2 million of them live in rent-stabilized apartments. These homes should be the bedrock of economic security for the city's working class. Just to explain what rent-stabilized apartments are, they're basically privately owned property that is given a tax benefit for being a rent-stabilized unit and apartment. You could have a few rent stabilized units in a building, such as a condo conversion, where you would have rent stabilized units and a combination of condo units or co-op units, or a fully rent stabilized building, where all the units are rent stabilized. So rent stabilized properties are, the rents for those units are dictated through a rental application process, which is known as the annual rent registration for rent stabilized and rent controlled properties. So annually you have to register your apartment when you're a rent stabilized apartment, and annually the rent control board, again, that is the rent control board, will basically get together and set the future increase, whether it's a 1 year or 2 year. They'll make a decision on the percentage of the increase for a 1 year lease renewal, rent stabilized lease renewal, or a 2 year rent stabilized lease renewal. And those are commonly set forth in order lofts, and we could do a deep dive into those as well. For now, we're just going to continue reading. Instead, Eric Adams has taken every opportunity to squeeze tenants with his hand-pick appointees to the Rent Guidelines Board, that's the RGB, and jacking up rents on stabilized apartments by 12.6% and counting, the most since a Republican ran City Hall. So that's a cumulative number, I'm assuming. As mayor, Zohran will immediately freeze the rent for all rent-stabilized tenants and use every available resource to build the housing New Yorkers need and bring down the rent. So it looks like a big construction project. The number one reason working families are leaving our city is the housing crisis. The mayor has the power to change that. Moving on. Building affordable housing. We need a lot more affordable housing. But for decades, New York City has relied almost entirely on changing the zoning code to entice private development, with results that can fall short on the big promises. And the housing that does get built is often out of reach for the working class who need it the most. As mayor, Zohran will put our public dollars to work and triple the city's production of permanently affordable, union-built, rent-stabilized homes, constructing 200,000 units over the next 10 years. Any 100% affordable development gets fast-tracked. No more pointless delays. And Zohran will fully staff our city's housing agencies so that we can actually get the work done. For the additional housing we need, Zohran will initiate a comprehensive plan for New York City to create a holistic vision for affordability, equity, and growth. This planning will allow New York City to address the legacy of racially discriminatory zoning, increase density near transit hubs, and the requirement to build parking lots, and proactively chart our future. There's more to read in the policy memo. And some of this information may be outdated. It does come from, I believe, February 2025 was the last time this page was updated. Cracking down on bad landlords. 1 in 10 renter households reported a lack of adequate heat last winter. 1 in 4 reported mice or rats in their homes. 500,000 live on poor quality housing. Every New Yorker deserves a safe and healthy place to call home. That's why Zohran will overhaul the mayor's office to protect tenants and coordinate code enforcement under one roof, making sure agencies work together to hold owners responsible for the conditions of their buildings. Tenants will be able to schedule and track inspections with a revamped 311. That's basically the city's landline. If a landlord refuses to make a repair, the city will do it and send them the bill. They already do that. And in most extreme cases, when an owner demonstrates consistent neglect for their tenants, the city will decisively step in and take control of their properties. That is referred to as the AEP program, the Alternate Enforcement Program, and the 7A administration, where 7A are city-appointed property managers who manage that dilapidated building. The city will decisively step in and take control of their properties, so they already do that. The worst landlords will be put out of business. And more in the policy memo. And moving on, supporting homeowners and ending deed theft. 25% of all New York City homeowners spend more than half of their income on housing, a burden felt most acutely in our city's immigrant communities and Black and Latino neighborhoods. Prior to becoming an assembly member, Zohran worked directly with those New Yorkers to keep them in their homes, serving as a foreclosure prevention housing counselor. He knows how the city's property tax system favors wealthier homeowners in gentrifying neighborhoods, has seen how the tax lien sales system leads to families losing their homes, recognizing how deed theft is displacing entire communities, and understands how the city lets speculators and slumlords box working class New Yorkers out of their homes, and he has a plan to fix it as mayor. Zohran will create a new Office of Deed Theft Prevention to help protect homeowners from scam artists. He'll fix any property tax system so the city's wealthiest neighborhoods pay their fair share. He'll help homeowners comply with local law like 97. And he'll end the tax lien sale. Moving on, safety. The Department of Community Safety. All New Yorkers deserve to be safe, but Adams' administration has failed to deliver a sense of safety and security that everyone should feel walking down our streets, riding our subways, taking our buses. Zohran will create the Department of Community Safety to prevent violence before it happens by prioritizing solutions which have been consistently shown to improve safety. Police have a critical role to play, but right now we're relying on them to deal with the failures of our social safety net, which prevents them from doing their actual jobs. Through this new city agency and whole of government approach, community safety will be prioritized like never before in New York City. The department will invest in citywide mental health programs and crisis response, including deploying dedicated outreach workers in 100 subway stations, providing medical services in vacant commercial units, and increasing transit ambassadors to assist New Yorkers on their journeys. Expand evidence-based gun violence prevention programs and increase funding to hate violence prevention programs by 800%. And there's more information. Moving on, affordability, city-owned grocery stores. Food prices are out of control. Nearly 9 in 10 New Yorkers say the cost of groceries is rising faster than their income. Only the very wealthiest aren't feeling squeezed at the register. As mayor, Zohran will create a network of city-owned grocery stores focused on keeping pricing low, not making a profit. Without having to pay rent or property taxes, they will reduce overhead costs and pass on savings to shoppers. They will buy and sell at wholesale prices, centralizing warehousing and distribution and partnering with local neighborhoods on products and sourcing. With New York City already spending millions of dollars to subsidize private grocery store operators, which are not even required to take SNAP and WIC, we should redirect public money to real public option. Moving on. Fast, fare-free buses. Public transit has public transit should be reliable, safe, and universally accessible. But 1 in 5 New Yorkers struggle to afford the ever-rising fare. Adding insult to injury, our city's buses are the slowest in the nation, robbing working people of precious time for family, leisure, and rest. Zohran won New York City's first fare-free bus pilot on 5 lines across the city. As mayor, he'll permanently eliminate the fare on every city bus, making them faster by rapidly building priority lanes, expanding bus queue jump signals, and dedicated loading zones to keep double parkers out of the way. Fast and free buses will not only make buses reliable and accessible, but will improve safety for riders and operators, creating a world-class service New Yorkers deserve. Moving on. Fighting corporate exploitation. New York's working class is getting nickel and dimed, and Donald Trump is making it easier for his corporate pals to pick their pockets as Trump loosens consumer protections and empowers CEOs, scammers, monopolies, and monopsony power. New York needs a mayor who will stand up to corporate greed and protect working class dollars. Zohran has a plan to do just that. He'll fight misleading advertising and predatory contracts and ban all hidden fees. He will ban non-compete clauses which suppress wages and allow employers to take advantage of their workers. He'll end secret corporate handouts where tax dollars are given away to companies in agreements protected by NDAs. And he will fund challenges to utility companies so that Con Ed can't raise prices without a fight. Moving on, early childhood and education, no-cost childcare. After rent, the biggest cost for New York working families is childcare. It's literally driving them out of the city. New Yorkers with children under 6 are leaving at double the rate of all others. The burden falls heaviest on mothers who are giving up paying jobs to do unpaid childcare. Zohran will implement free childcare for every New Yorker aged 6 weeks to 5 years, ensuring high-quality programming for all families. And he will bring up wages for childcare workers, a quarter of whom currently live in poverty, to be at parity with public school teachers. It will foster early childhood development, save parents money, and keep our families in the city they call home. Baby baskets for New York's newborns. Each year, 125,000 New Yorkers are born across our city, but the cost of living crisis can make it difficult for new families to give them a healthy start. Building on the success of more than 90 similar programs around the world, Mamdani administration will provide new parents and guardians with a collection of essential goods and resources free of charge, including items like diapers, baby wipes, nursing pads, postpartum pads, swaddles, and books. Each New York City baby basket will also include a resource guide of information on the city's newborn home visiting program, breastfeeding, postpartum depression, and more. These critical resources are for combating postpartum maternal mortality and increasing trust in government as well. At less than $20 million a year, it's relatively small investment with potentially huge rewards for the healthy development of family stability, as demonstrated by countless programs across the globe. K-12. Zohran will ensure our public schools are fully funded with equally distributed resources, strong after-school programs, mental health counselors and nurses, compliant and effective class sizes, and integrated student bodies to address the 7,000 to 9,000 teacher shortage required by the class size law. He will launch the Community to Classroom, a new initiative to train, certify, and hire new teachers. The program will provide tuition support in exchange for a 3-year commitment to teaching in New York City public schools. He will create the car-free school streets to prevent traffic fatalities, improve play, and lower pollution for every school, and address student homelessness by expanding the successful Bronx pilot. Every child and family is known. Zohran supports an end to mayoral control and envisions a system instead in which parents, students, educators, and administrators work together to create school environments in which students and families will best strive. Strengthening co-governance through PEP, SLTs, DLTs, and CETs in particular. CECs in particular. He will also work with the city-state to massively invest in CUNY, whether taxing NYU or Columbia, or passing the New Deal for CUNY, which he has long championed, to invest in infrastructure, pay staff and faculty a living wage, give free Omni cards to all students, and make CUNY tuition free for all students, as it was 130 years ago. Paying for our agenda. This is Zohran's agenda. Paying for the agenda. Taxing corporations and the 1%. Zohran plans to bring down the cost of living through city-owned grocery stores, universal childcare, and other bold proposal, and he knows exactly how to pay for it too. Zohran's revenue plan will raise the corporate tax rate to match New Jersey's 11.5%, bringing in $5 billion, and he will tax the wealthiest 1% of New Yorkers, those earning above $1 million annually, a flat 2% tax. Right now, the city income tax rates are essentially the same whether you make $50,000 or $50 million. Zohran will also implement common sense procurement reform, end senseless no-bid contracts, hire more tax auditors, and crack down on fine collection from corrupt landlords and raise an additional $1 billion. We should probably do a deep dive into that one. Climate, green schools for a healthier New York. Fighting for climate crisis and improving quality of life are not separate issues, but deeply intertwined. Zohran has a plan to deliver a better and cleaner New York, including an unprecedented investment in our public schools. Zohran's green schools for a healthier New York City will renovate 500 public schools with renewable energy infrastructure and HVAC upgrades, transform 500 asphalt schoolyards into vibrant green spaces, create 15,000 union jobs, and build resilience hubs in 50 schools that provide resources and safe spaces during emergencies. LGBTQIA plus protections. Queer and trans people across the United States are facing an increasingly hostile political environment. New York City must be a refuge for LGBTQIA plus people, but private institutions in our own city have already started capitulating to Trump's assault on trans rights. Meanwhile, the cost of living crisis confronting working class people across the city hits the LGBTQIA plus community particularly hard, with higher rates of unemployment and homelessness with higher rates of unemployment and homelessness than the rest of the city. The Mamdani administration will protect LGBTQIA plus New Yorkers by expanding and protecting gender-affirming care citywide, making NYC a LGBTQIA plus sanctuary city, and creating the Office of LGBTQIA plus Affairs. Healthcare. 12% of New York City residents are uninsured. To expand access to healthcare, Zohran will create a new corps of outreach workers to support New Yorkers navigating the healthcare system. Those workers will support patients in understanding the public resources available to them, how to find insurance, apply to programs, access financial assistance, and claim their health benefits. As Trump attacks public health, particularly reproductive health care, Zohran will also guarantee that these outreach workers connect to every New Yorker in need of reproductive care to affordable quality support. Moreover, New York's public hospital system serves over 1 million unique patients a year and is the crown jewel of our public health infrastructure, but it faces significant funding gaps, leading to underinvestment, understaffing, and overburdened caregivers. Meanwhile, we keep closing our critical community hospitals. Zohran will work with our healthcare unions and city and state partners to increase funding for H+H and end hospital closures. He will also protect New York City for future public health emergencies, including guarding against shortages of PPE, ensuring adequate surge capacity, and healthcare worker safety, maintaining programs like Test and Trace to stay on top of trends, and more. As mayor, Zohran will reject Medicare Advantage and reject higher copays for in-service workers. Instead, he'll partner with retirees, workers, and their unions to take on the fragmented for-profit healthcare system and lower costs for everyone. Labor. As mayor, Zohran will work closely with our city's powerful labor movement and ensure that union and non-union workers alike know that they can enforce their rights at work, including by fully staffing and expanding the role of the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. He will continue to fight for the Secure Jobs Act, which will make it easier for New Yorkers to organize without fear or unfair retaliatory firings. Through requiring high road labor standards for all city contractors, city-financed developed projects, and city-funded organizations and their contractors, and expanding the labor peace agreement requirements, he'll ensure that all workers, including public sector workers, have the right to collective bargaining and to fight for strong contracts. Finally, Zohran will work closely with unions to pass additional sectoral extender laws that provide better wages and working conditions across entire industries, similar to New York City's fast food minimum wage law, raising the minimum wage to $30 by 2030. In the world's richest city, making the minimum wage shouldn't mean living in poverty, but that's exactly what it means for working people today, even with the hard-won increase in the state minimum wage. When incomes don't match the true cost of living, government services have to make up the difference, effectively subsidizing low-wage employers. As mayor, Zohran will champion a new local law, bringing the New York City wage floor from, I don't even know where it's at right now, but up to $30 an hour by 2030. After that, the minimum wage will automatically increase based on the cost of living and productivity increases. When working people have more money in their pocket, the whole economy thrives. Regulating delivery apps and protecting delivery workers. The delivery app industry has transformed New York City. Delivery workers are fundamental to keeping the city running, supplying groceries, meals, and medications 24/7. Traveling around the city at breakneck speeds, app-based delivery workers are now in the most dangerous job in New York City. Despite the immense risks these workers face every day, deliveristas, 80,000 black, brown, and immigrant workers, are exploited by the app companies, who demand they complete deliveries at a dangerous pace. Moreover, app companies have misclassified delivery workers as independent contractors instead of employees, so that they can avoid providing them with the rights and benefits of all workers deserve. The New York City app consumers, restaurant owners, small businesses, cyclists, pedestrians all suffer due to app companies' predatory policies. The ever-increasing demands from app companies make our streets less safe and deliveristas more vulnerable. To address these issues, the Mamdani administration will strengthen licensure requirements for delivery apps, expand capacity and resources to support deliveristas, and improve street infrastructure, including expanding DOT e-bike programs and investing in deliverista hubs. Small businesses. New York is the greatest city in the world, but people who make it here are being priced out. That includes small business owners, who account for over 90% of all firms in the city and employ nearly half of all New Yorkers within the private sector. But too many mom and pop shops are forced to close because keeping a business open costs too much, and navigating our bureaucracy is too difficult. That costs New Yorkers their jobs, small business owners their dreams, and our city the places that give it character. Zohran will make it faster, easier, and cheaper to start and run a business in New York City so that bodegas and corner stores stay open and dollar slices come back. He will cut small businesses fines in half, speed up permitting, and make online applications easier, and increase funding for one-to-one small business support by 500%. And he'll appoint a mom-and-pop czar to make sure that it happens. Libraries. Libraries are critical to city success. They enable access to the internet, provide cool from summer heat, serve as vital community hubs, and help New Yorkers seek career advancement and education. Yet Eric Adams' library closures has been devastating. As a state legislator, I supported neighborhood organizing to restore funding to Astoria's Broadway Library and have used assembly discretionary money to fund programming at the Queens Public Library. As mayor, I I will end the practice of using library funding as a bargaining chip in the budget negotiations and will commit 0.5% of New York City's budget to libraries, ensuring we have enough revenue for robust services and well-staffed facilities. Trump-proofing New York City. Donald Trump is tearing at the fabric of New York City in his second term. He has deployed ICE agents to pluck New Yorkers from their families. He has sent already high prices skyrocketing with tariffs. And he has threatened vital social services that working New Yorkers rely on every day. Zohran Mamdani will fight Trump's attempts to gouge the working class and deliver a city where everyone can afford a dignified life. He'll ensure our immigrant New Yorkers are protected by strengthening our sanctuary city apparatus, getting ICE out of all city facilities, and ending any cooperation, increasing legal support, and protecting all personal data. He'll make sure NYC is an LGBTQIA+ sanctuary city and protect reproductive rights. He'll also protect workers and ensure our current laws are enforced by increasing the budgets of DCWP and the NYC Commission on Human Rights and muscling up our law department. Paid for by Zohran for New York City.